guys, it is Aoife here from Fridays You Died Laughing, and I'm here to do the mid-year check-in tag. And I was tagged in this by Kath over at Kath Elizabeth Reads and by Kirsty over at Kirsty's Reviews. And the original tag was created by Harriet over at Harriet Rosie and Dane by Dane Reads, and everyone will be linked down below as well as the question. So the first question in this tag is how many books have you read so far this year? And to date, as of right now that I'm filming, I have read 118 books. And I'm actually about 16 or 17 books behind on my Goodreads goal, which I'm definitely probably maybe not going to catch up on by the end of the year. We will see. I'd be very surprised if I did, but yes, 118 books, so it's not too bad. It should be more, but hey, I'm happy. The second question was, what's your favourite book you've read so far this year? And as you guys can probably know, I have read 118 books, so it's very, very hard to pick out a favourite, or like, you know, even with my like, I can never even do like a top 10 favourites. I have a lot more. So yeah, to pick out a favourite so far is a difficult one. I'm going to go with some of my favourites were probably ones that surprised me the most. One of these was Elmas by Fiona Mosley, which was it was longlisted for the Mad Booker Prize last year, and it was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction this year. And this one was just such a beautiful, quiet novel full of nature and this beautiful relationship between a father and his children. And there was just something about this one that really, really spoke to me. And it's actually one, now that I think about it, now that I talk about it, that I think I might buy just to have a copy for myself, because it's definitely one I think I might want to reread, because I just found it so, so, so beautiful. And then the second favourite book so far this year for me is Orange Horses by Maeve Kelly, which is actually a collection of short stories all about Irish women. A lot of them are marginalised Irish women in society, and this was just such a fascinating look at all these different type of people. You have women who are in the travelling community, women who are in, like, you know, small farmer rural areas, and how, you know, they are kind of shunted aside sometimes in terms of taking over farms or land that they would have worked for their entire lives for sons who might not be around, or brothers, or so be it. And yeah, it was really, really good. I liked pretty much every single story in it, and it's one that I keep thinking about, and I do have a physical copy of it, but I'm not holding it up because I've loaned it to my friends because I want everyone to read this, basically. Third question is, what's the most disappointing book you've read so far this year? I think for me, one of the most disappointing was definitely The Empress by S.J. Kincaid. This was the second book in the Diabolic trilogy series. I don't know what it's going to be. I absolutely loved the Diabolic, and after reading The Empress, I think the Diabolic should have just stayed as a standalone, because the Empress was just terrible. The characters just went completely off the grid from what we knew of them from the Diabolic. The character decisions just didn't make much sense. Decisions the author made about characters and how they were going to behave and their personalities and how personalities were warped in ways just were very, very, very upsetting, and I really did feel taken advantage of as a reader while I was reading that book, because I was just so upset at seeing my favourite characters being treated the way they were by the author, and it really, really annoyed me, and I did a massive rant on that in my Goodreads review, so I will leave that link down below if anyone is interested in reading that. But it's definitely not one I would ever suggest people to read. I would tell people to read the Diabolic, but I tell them to treat it as a standalone, to not bother with The Empress, because it was just god awful. Question is what genre I've read most this year, and I do the I've been doing kind of the reading spreadsheet on Google Docs, and that is telling me that the most ones I have read is a combination of fantasy and contemporary, so that would be a mix of adult and YA fantasy, and also adult and YA contemporary. So I do, as you guys know, I mix my genres up a lot, so it's hard for me sometimes to know exactly what genres I'm using or what I'm reading, but that sounds about right, because I do love my fantasy, but I also do love a contemporary to just freshen things up as well. Number 5 is name a new favourite author that you've discovered this year, and for me, I think my new favourite author is probably going to be Mariana Zapata. She wrote From Luke Cove with Love, which was this ice skater, slow burn, enemies to lovers romance that I read a few weeks ago and I absolutely raved about, and I've only read one of her books, but immediately after finishing From Luke Cove with Love, I went and bought 2 more for my Kindle. So I've not read those yet. I feel like I'm kind of savouring them, but I just know from this, the fact that the book prompted me to go out and buy 2 more of her books straight away just showed me that I really, really enjoyed her, and I cannot wait to read more of her work, and she's definitely someone I will be following from now on and trying to read everything that she writes, because I love From Luke Cove with Love so much. Number 6 is what's the most surprisingly good book you've read so far this year? And for me, it's going to actually be Eve of Man by Giovanna Fletcher and Tom Fletcher. And this is one that just surprised me because I genuinely just wasn't expecting to love it quite so much. I knew I'd probably like it, but I didn't think I'd become really invested in the story. I honestly didn't think it would be that well written or that well developed. And for me, it was. I did actually really, really enjoy it. I enjoyed the world they created, even if it was slightly closed off from the outside world. The world building wasn't as good, but there are reasons for that as well. And I feel like the second book, I feel like the way the first book ended really gives a lot of opportunity for world building and more development in the second book. And I am really, really excited to see where that series goes, because it was just one that I was just expecting to be a kind of a meh, enjoyable book, not a wow, I actually really, really like this. Question 7 is what is your favourite and most anticipated 2018 releases? And for this one, I actually don't really have an answer for this one. I just don't really get super duper excited about 2018 releases. Maybe it's just because I just read whatever. I generally don't read things as soon as they come out. I'm not always pushed to read something as soon as it comes out. I guess one of the ones I was excited for was probably Save the Date by Morgan Matson, which I don't even have yet. I haven't read. But I knew that was coming out and it did make me excited for it. So there was that, I guess. But there's none that I can really think of except the new John Gwynne book, which is going to be coming out at the end of the year. Question number 8 is what's your big priority for your reading for the end of the year? And for me, I guess it will just be continuing to read books that I'm liking, maybe try and catch up with my reading goals as much as I can. I don't think I will. I've just been kind of slow with my reading the last few weeks. I don't know why. I've been reading some bigger books, I think, and then I've just been quite busy in work and with commuting and just doing other things rather than reading, watching TV shows, spending time with people in my life, some new people in my life as well, which has been lovely. And it means that I don't have as much free time for reading, but I'm not unhappy about that either. I'm really enjoying life right now and I'm enjoying the people that are in my life. So if that means that I'm not reading as much, it's not that big of a deal for me either. So yeah. Number 9 is what has been your bookish highlight of the year so far? This one for me is 100% the Irish Readathon that I co-hosted with 3 other booktubers in March, and that was with Leanne over at Leanne Rose, Jessica over Breathe and Read, and Stephen over at Alf Books. And just in it wasn't even doing the readathon, which I absolutely loved, and I loved reading so many Irish books that month and getting into such an Irish literary mood. It was so much fun, but it was even just becoming so friendly with those guys as well. Like some of they're like some of my best friends now. We talk almost like a couple of times a week. We will talk to each other. We have just we've just become this really, really, really nice group of friends, and I genuinely would consider them some of my best friends now, and I could tell them anything, and it's so nice to be able to know they are there for me and I am there for them if they need me. And that has been created through BookTube and through our love of books, and to have that is just so special. And just goes to, I really confirmed for me what a special community BookTube is, and that we can be there for each other and create these friendships. And yeah, I love it so much. And is who do you tag? I don't think I actually have anyone written down, so I will just leave some links down below to people who I tag. I forgot to think about someone to tag, so I will think of that while I'm editing, and I will tag them in Twitter and below, so you'll see. So yeah, that is the mid-year check-in tag, and I will see you guys again next time. And thank you guys for watching. As always, leave any comments down below, as always, and I'll see you guys. Bye.